All right, we are good to go.
It's another episode of League One on the Rocks, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich But I'm Not, joined by the man who uses pepper spray to season his meat. Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Rich, and it is true. I do use pepper spray to season my meat, and I also sprayed in my eyes before I eat. So just building up a tolerance.
Covering your bases.
Yeah, I have to. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm good. So I got a quick story before we jump too far into everything that's happening. Earlier today, I was in a group chat with Yogi, and so he threw out a general question, um, asking if Manchester United should look at Leeds goalkeeper Ilan Melier. Let's see this. Trying to think. Doesn't matter. Anyways, Ilan Melier is the goalkeeper for Leeds United. Leeds just got relegated to Championship from the Premier League, so obviously, if anybody's going to be going after him, they can get him at a good price right now.
Hmm.
And so my response to his question was absolutely, you could probably get a good deal for him too. He's done plenty of good things for Leeds. Plus, he can advertise children's apparel since he has a baby face. Marketing opportunities are endless.
Sure.
And his immediate, was okay, Ed Woodward. Now, I've heard that name before, but I couldn't quite put a face to the name. So I decided to Google Ed Woodward.
Hmm.
Turns out this guy works for Manchester United and he's their accountant. Now, if you pull up a picture of Ed Woodward,
Hmm. Doing that right now. Yep, I can see
yeah,
it.
yeah, nailed it.
Everybody at home, please do the same.
So while Ed Woodward has blue eyes, I have brown eyes. Um, Otherwise, yeah, I can definitely see it. I can see us being each other's doppelganger. Um, and it broke my heart. Here I am thinking, it'll be one of the Hemsworth brothers. It'll be Antonio Banderas. Someone that I can be really proud of. Not some freaking accountant on the other side of the world. You don't want your doppelganger to be some accountant. Like it just knocked me down a few pegs. Yogi, you got me. You got me really good. And the fact that you responded so quickly with that response, I feel like you've been hanging on to that one for a while. But however long you have been hanging on to it, you found the right place to put it into the conversation and you got me good. So
Yep.
credit to you, man.
And Tim Ranting Blue Penguin Media coming in right away. Of course, always good to hear from you, Tim. Saying if the keeper's name isn't Allison Becker, it's not worth it. You ain't taking him from Liverpool. They ain't letting him go.
Hey, you're not taking Emmy from Aston Villa either.
No, no, definitely not.
Yeah. Do you have, has anyone told you that you look like a celebrity?
Um, I've been compared to plenty of celebrities: Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling.
It's the
Um,
abs, isn't it?
it's definitely the abs, and
Yeah.
I consider myself actually a little bit more closer to the body build of The Rock. So,
Okay. Yeah.
um, that's how I see myself. And from now on, if people just happen to call me Dwayne on accident, I'll understand.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I can see it too.
Hmm.
I perfectly understand that.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So over in the YouTube, Tim responded, "Is he rich but you're not?" Damn it, Tim, another good one. You're such a genius, man, with those quick jokes. I
He's
love it.
quick, man.
Yeah. And yes, Ed Woodward is far richer than I am. So yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are going to be reviewing week 12 action. We
Hmm.
had Charlotte holding Union Omaha scoreless again at home. We had some late fireworks at the Greenville Tormenta match. A couple of red cards going on there. Um, we had, oh man, it was a back and forth occasion between Lexington and Northern Colorado. That was a fun one to watch. Richmond taking care of business at home, and North Carolina taking care of business on the road. And then Fuego using their second half to give the biggest home crowd a bit of a show there up in
Yeah,
Madison.
yeah. I will say, if my if my doubt of that team had any role to play, not saying it did, not saying it didn't, but I talked shit on them pretty hard last week, and they came out and beat Madison. So, um, if that's any indication on if I talk shit about a team, they come back and do really well, then the future is looking bright for Union Omaha tonight.
Sounds good to me. I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm excited to get to that one because we can. I have a bit of a story to tell. I can do some ribbon at Rob up there at Talking Flock. I'm excited for that one.
All right, sounds good.
Um, did you want to save the Union Omaha match for last, or did you want to go ahead and jump right into that one?
Um, I mean, it doesn't. You know what? Yeah, let's save it for last because I think my breakdown is actually going to lead into the rant this week.
Cool, that works. All right, so we will skip Union Omaha and Charlotte, and we'll dive right into the next match on Saturday. So on Saturday, every single club played. No one had a bye week, and no one played twice this week either. So it was just a straight, like it was a traditional match day in USL League One.
Mm-hmm.
And the next match we're going to be covering here is Greenville and Tormenta, the Peach States Derby. Finished 1-1, but man, it was. If you think draws are boring, this one was anything but.
Oh yeah, Rich. We forgot to do kind of a pivotal part of our show here. Tim
Oh
reminded
crap! Yeah.
us,
Oh geez.
what are we drinking tonight?
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. I am going with Moscow Mules again.
Ooh, gotta
Yeah.
like the Moscow Mules.
I still got the fixins here. I got to get the ginger beer.
Ginger beer up and ready to go.
Yeah, so I can start mixing everything.
It's good stuff.
How about you?
Um, so for me tonight, might have been a little bit of a bait and switch for the people watching on YouTube because it looks like I'm drinking beers tonight, but I'm actually kind of getting back into watching calorie intake and like carb, all that stuff. So instead of a beer tonight, it looks like a beer, but it's actually a root beer because I am
Hey, all right.
below on my sugar and below on my carbs today. So easy way to throw a little extra in there.
There you go. You got
But
it.
it is IBC root beer, which is my favorite root beer in the world.
I don't
Comes
know if
in
I've
the
ever hit that one.
oh man, comes in the glass bottle, the glass brown
Yeah.
bottles, made by the same people that make Dr Pepper, so it's got quite a bit of that vanilla flavor. It's good stuff.
So you know Connor would love it.
Connor, yeah, Connor, if you haven't had it yet, get in there, give it a shot.
And if you are watching us on YouTube, um, if my complexion looks a bit red, that is not your screen. I laid out in the sun for a bit today, so I have a bit of the lobster skin going on right now. But that's okay because once the tan sets in, then I'll finally start getting confused for Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, I believe
That's how it
so.
works.
Um, you got to get a base, to steal a line from It's Always Sunny, and it's a deep cut because it's one of the first seasons.
It
You
is, yeah.
got to get a base.
Yep.
Just throw them in there for a few seconds just to get a base.
Yep. Probably doesn't help that I'm wearing like a red shirt either.
I think the red shirt was a good idea. Actually, I think
Oh, really?
it might take a little bit of the redness away.
Good, good.
I wouldn't have even noticed if you would have said anything, to be honest.
And yes, I am wearing Chicago Fire gear, and I'm pretty sure I cursed them because they're getting their ass kicked in the Open Cup right now. Last I checked, it was 4-1.
Oof.
Yeah, they're in the 92nd minute, 4-1 still. So Chicago Fire's leaving the Open Cup.
Hmm.
That sucks.
Tim
Oh
saying
well.
again, he got pulled over once for drinking these IBC root beers in the car, and it fooled the cop too. So there we go.
That's cool.
It is a dangerous game.
Yep. All right. Let's jump into Greenville hosting Tormenta. A lot of the fans online thought this was going to be a Tormenta win.
Hmm. Well, I mean, if you look historically, recently, I mean,
True.
it's a safe bet.
Yeah. It's been what, 2 years? Is that what we saw? 2 years
I think so. Yeah.
since
Hmm.
Greenville last defeated them.
I believe that is true. Yeah. And
So
Bolt let him know.
yeah, yeah,
Once again, Bolt doing the Lord's work with the mascot stuff. So
yep.
shout out to Bolt.
Love Bolt. Some good stuff there. Um, so Greenville at home playing in Paladin Stadium. They had a good showing that night. Some good attendance.
Yeah, they were sitting on 1,809. Um,
That's
let's
probably right
see
around average for them, isn't it?
see where they that puts them. Their average is
Okay.
2,162. So yeah, around there, sure.
Yeah, not far off.
No, not too far off.
But the match started off with a lot of Tormenta opportunities. But as the match went on, started to get a lot more even.
Hmm.
Um, and they went into halftime 0-0. Coming out of halftime, fans even would have to wait until the 73rd minute for Triumph to finally get their first goal. It was Leo Castro assisted by Alan Gavilanes. Good goal. It
Hmm.
was just and this is Leo Castro's third straight match scoring a goal, so that's a heck of a achievement by him.
Yeah, getting rolling in the at the right time.
Yeah,
And I
we'll
will
be
say,
talking about another player who did the same feat.
hmm um, I will say, yeah, at the very beginning of the match, it was all Tormenta. Um, they looked like the better team at the beginning of this match, and then you saw, swats coming into halftime where Greenville got a little bit more hold of it, and then coming out of halftime, it looked like a completely different match. It
Really did.
180'd completely, and Greenville just wrestled control of this match away from Tormenta,
Yeah,
um, and they seem to have the upper hand all the way up to and just a little bit after their goal. Um, just again, looked like the better team, looked like a well coached unit that was finally
yeah.
starting to put it together.
And that's the thing that you can rely on with Greenville. I mean, even if they're playing from behind, when they go in for that break, they're going to come out a different team
Hmm.
because of Harks and because of the staff that he has around him, and just the adjustments that they can make.
Hmm.
You see it week in and week out. That veteran, experience coming through.
Yep.
And a little bit of a controversial moment there in the 86th minute when Andrew Akindele was battling with Jared Mazzola. I gotta say, I don't think that was well. Okay, I I think that Mazzola got in there and he made some contact and everything, but I kind of feel like Akindele went down a little easy. Just seemed like when Mazzola was coming out challenge. Now, Mazzola was totally in the wrong for coming into that challenge the way that he did.
Yep.
Um, I can't help but thinking Akindele was a little bit soft in that moment, though. But nonetheless, he earned the PK. And who else are you going to give it to on Tormenta but Keziah Sterling. I mean,
Hmm.
come on. If you need a goal, you know who to put the you know whose hands to put the ball in.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It seemed like Akindele went down pretty easy, but again, we've talked about it before, Rich. I mean, in this league, especially, like these guys are going down with the slightest breeze in the box
Yeah.
because they know they can get away with doing it and not getting in trouble themselves. So,
Oh yeah.
best case scenario, you get a PK out of it. Worst case scenario, you might get a talking to.
Yeah.
But I think we've only seen one yellow card in the history of the league for
For
excessive,
embellishment. Yeah.
yeah, embellishment. So, um, I mean, yeah, I think he went down a little easy, but shit, in this league, I'd do it too. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I agree. I mean, we talked about it last week too that for Tormenta to be playing as well as they were without Keziah Sterling, and now Keziah Sterling coming back, you're going to want to get him into the offense and get him rolling as quick as possible. So, um, what better way for a striker to get some confidence than to give him a penalty and watch the ball go in the back of the net.
Yeah. And look, I don't blame him for going down. It's the 86th minute. You're down 1-0. You're on the road. You need to get a point so you can, continue pushing up into the playoff zone.
Hmm.
Um, so the opportunity presented itself. He took advantage of it. The refs are none the wiser, and
Hmm.
yeah, they were able to equalize.
Yep.
So the PK happened in the 87th minute. 5 minutes later, Ian Cameron, the Tormenta head coach, was given a red card for what they claimed was a foul as well as abusive language. But if you're watching the tape from the match footage, I don't see anything.
I don't think he was
Uh,
even near an official.
yeah, I think there was even an assistant coach between Cameron and the fourth official.
Hmm.
So or between Cameron and the fourth official. So and when the Greenville player was coming off the field to try to retrieve the ball for the throw in, there wasn't any contact there. Maybe there were some words exchanged or something like that. But when are there not words exchanged? It's
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. Every time I've ever sat behind the coaches and the fourth official, let's just say there's been some questionable language used, language I would not use in my own home with my children awake,
Yep.
and they don't listen to the podcast, so it doesn't count.
Yep. I was told a story from early on when Union Omaha was hosting matches. They used to have the microphones in front of the technical areas on both sides of the half, and it did not take long for them to take those mics away because of what was being heard. So yeah, there's obviously some language going on, but to what extent that was to earn a straight red, that's stupid.
Hmm.
And it was so stupid that uh, today they announced that after an individual review of the incident, they rescinded the red card against Ian Cameron. So
Hmm.
uh, strike that one from the record. Never existed. It's all good.
So Gio coming in, letting us know that the ball came to him and he threw up the ball behind the bench.
Oh, I see. I didn't see that.
So yeah, and Gio, obviously the resident Greenville fan slash employee. So
Yep.
I'm sure he was there and saw it. So I mean, yeah, you can't throw the ball behind the bench, man.
He was just practicing his Greg Berhalter behind the back
Oh
bounce
Lord,
pass.
no,
It just
no.
went a little wrong.
I really don't want to get into the Greg Berhalter discourse, especially with everything going on right now.
Those back passes were so stupid, and it annoyed the hell out of me every time.
Every single thing Greg Berhalter did was stupid.
It was just another moment for him to steal the show. Like,
Yeah.
look at me,
Hmm.
instead of what's happening on the field.
Yeah. Sounds
But
about right.
that's another topic. So that was in the 90th plus two. 2 minutes later, Devin Boyce was given his second yellow card, so the soft red. Um, Man, he totally deserved that second yellow. That he bulldozed that guy from behind. I mean, he was going full speed when he ran over that guy.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the situational awareness that we saw a couple times in Union Omaha.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but that's the thing that you got to love about Devin Boyce. He plays with so much heart and so much passion. Sometimes, those tiny little details just sort of escape him.
Hmm. And I mean, yeah, it's one of those things with Devin Boyce. Like, yes, he's gonna have those things happen, just like you said, because of how he plays. But the positives outweigh the negatives with him. Um,
Yeah.
Having a guy that is that active and shows that much effort, and everybody listening, keep the effort word in mind. It's going to come up later. Just the effort that he shows in every single match is something that you really can't take for granted.
Yep. Um, Devin Boyce is you're so Harks. I feel like Harks is finally starting to come around to the benefits that Boyce brings to Triumph because earlier in the season, maybe he was on the bench for a little bit, he came off for a little bit. They were trying to utilize him in ways that maybe weren't necessarily catering to his strengths, but you're starting to see adjustments in their play to showcase his strengths, and they're using him to his strengths, and it's paying off. Boyce is he's playing very well for them, and I'm sure the Triumph fans are loving him down there. If they're
Yeah,
not, I'm concerned.
no, I'm sure they are.
And he's a good guy off the field too. He's fun to joke around with,
Hmm.
very nice, always good to hang out with and have a nice, easy conversation with.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so so one of the things I wanted to mention as we were talking about this match, this was one of my favorite matches to watch. There was another one that we'll talk about that was my favorite one to watch this week. Uh, but not only was this one fun for the drama late in the match, but leading up to it, there was such a great showdown between Greenville's defense and Tormenta's midfield, and those two going at each other was just so much fun to watch.
Hmm.
Tormenta was throwing a lot of creativity at him, and Greenville was bending, but they weren't breaking. And
Hmm.
that was the key to everything that happened. It was a really fun match to watch.
Yeah, and I mean that those are um, the two strongest parts I think of both of these two teams. Obviously, Greenville's defense has been strong since the beginning, um, and Tormenta in the past couple of years have really shored up that midfield, and they do a lot of creative things, and they are very smart with their passing in the midfield. Um, Unlike some other teams in this league, but um, yeah, their midfield it's fantastic, and Greenville's defense is fantastic. So yeah, I mean it's two battle of the titans going on right there.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those matches where later on in the season they're going to be using highlights from that one to showcase like how good these clubs are in specific scenarios. I think this was like a showcase type of match for both sides,
Hmm.
and there were a lot of good performances. Hopefully, I threw in a tough decision for you because even trying to pick out the players for both sides, I felt like was a tough task.
Hmm. Yeah, it um ooh. So the for the first star I'm going to give out we're going to go with Keziah Sterling. Making his return, played all 90 minutes, 1 goal, 79% passing, 3 passes into the final third, 7 recoveries, and earned a foul. So obviously, you score on the penalty. It wasn't from open play, but really high passing number for him, and getting passes into the final third. And another big thing is the effort for the recoveries. You earn 7 of them. It's gonna get you some recognition. For my second star, I really want to highlight Tyler Polak for Greenville. Played all 90 minutes. He had 10 passes into the final third as a left back. Um, just crazy, playing the entire length of the field, essentially. 3 clearances, 3 interceptions, 5 recoveries. Again, another hustle stat. I don't know if they use that term in soccer, but it's a basketball term, so I'll use it here too, I guess. Um, a hustle stat. He was only dribbled past once, and he earned 3 fouls. So, um, again, one of those things. Greenville's defense is obviously terrific. So, I think Tyler Polak is a big pillar for them on that left side. And then for the final star, this one is very tough. I'm just gonna have to give a shared star between Gavilanes and Toby Otieno. These guys are not separated by very much in terms of the importance that they played in this match. So obviously you have Gavilanes. Everybody already knows kind of what he can do, but in this match, all 90 minutes played, had the assist, 2 chances created, and was only dribbled past once. And then Toby Otieno played 90 minutes, had 81% passing accuracy, and 11 passes into the final third. So just facilitating. Both of these guys just facilitating. And that's one of those things that you really can't harp on enough, especially with teams like Greenville and Tormenta. I mean, obviously on 2 ends of the scale as far as scoring potential, but whereas Tormenta can kind of score more goals, Greenville really only needs to score maybe 1 or 2 to beat most teams. So
True. Yeah. Those are good picks. And I'm glad that you had a tough time with that because, man, like I said, I had a tough time just trying to narrow it down to those players.
yeah, no, those were all really good ones. I couldn't not give both of those guys huge shout outs for the job that they did.
Yeah. All right. So there's some cool news coming out of Greenville on Saturday morning from 10 to 11 in the morning. If you go to Paladin Stadium, you can join the Triumph team and Soul Yoga to do a morning stretch in Paladin Stadium with the players.
Very nice.
Not only can you do yoga with them, they're going to have raffles. You can chat with the players. And in the advertisement on social media, it says and more. But I think we all know that means that everyone's going to get to watch Gio do yoga, which I feel like if they record it and post it on the internet, it's going to break the internet.
Oh, I'd agree for sure. And Gio, if you're still listening, let us know if you're going to be there doing yoga, and maybe we can pay somebody to snipe a video of that for us.
Yes, absolutely. Since Omaha's traveling to Greenville, I'm sure we could arrange for a hidden camera
Yeah,
somewhere in Paladin Stadium.
I'm sure we've got somebody out there.
And
Gio,
then
Gio says, if I make it, I'll send you whatever you want and need. Good man, Gio. Good man.
love it. And then another fun news item coming out of Greenville is the bidding is still active for some of the player worn warm up jerseys from their recent match. It's the Fiesta de Football jerseys. Bidding ends tomorrow night, Wednesday night at midnight, and all proceeds of the auction will benefit the Hispanic Alliance. So not only do you get to bid on player worn warm up jerseys,
Really
but you get to
cool.
benefit an alliance that is near and dear to the hearts of the community. So
Hmm.
um, you're not wasting your money by putting bids up for those jerseys. So get out there and do that.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it going to um, the Hispanic Alliance down there is the the biggest really cool thing going on. But and those jerseys are sweet.
They are cool.
I
Yeah.
really like those a lot.
And
Um,
I never heard from the discussion between Tyler and Gio if that was going to turn into a phone wallpaper, but I thought it was a really good idea by
oh yeah,
Tyler to advertise it as a phone wallpaper.
little Wallpaper Wednesday. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't see any news out of Tormenta, so we can go ahead and skip on to the next match. And that was Lexington hosting Northern Colorado. Now, this is the second matchup between these two. And a lot of people, well, most of the people who responded in our poll thought it was going to be a Northern Colorado win, but ended
Hmm.
up being a 2-2 draw.
Hmm. Yeah, only nine
This one,
percent of the votes going towards a draw too. So
yeah,
congrats to the 9% that picked that one.
yeah. This one was my favorite one to watch.
Hmm.
This one was action packed. It was back and forth. It was high intensity. I mean, it was just, this one was fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Good crowd in Lexington, too.
Yeah, Lexington brought out 2,302 fans, which is right around their average. They're actually sitting fourth on the average list right now with 2,426 people. So, congrats to them for showing up and showing out.
Yeah, that's cool. And the visitors didn't take long to score against Lexington. It was a Billy King goal assisted by Arthur Rogers. This was just a great goal. It was one of those where it showcased the situational awareness of the team,
Hmm.
where Arthur Rogers was on the left side of the field. He could see that Lexington had shifted a lot of their personnel over to that side of the field, and he saw a lot of space and an opportunity on the right side. Switched it up real quick. Billy King was able to take advantage of that opportunity, and nice shot. I think it was just inside the 18 from the right side going to the far post. It was a nice goal.
Hmm. Yeah, beat a defender to come in. And that is the Billy King that I kind of saw from his highlight film and stuff like that. And when I picked him as my MVP candidate at the beginning of the season, it's because of stuff like that. So
Mhm.
if he can stay on that route, he might be entering that MVP discussion. Granted,
Yeah,
this is a super talented no-co team to try to break through and be an MVP off of.
yeah. And people also have to realize that our definition of MVP is different than the league's definition of MVP.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a great chance in the 19th minute for Northern Colorado to double their lead when Trevor Aman almost like he had Amal Knight beat. He had
Hmm.
the ball underneath him. I mean, it was just like inches, even if like I would even say centimeters
Hmm.
to the outside. Just kissed the post and barely went out of bounds. But it was a good shot,
Yeah.
good threat on goal too. So that was cool.
Yeah. That's one of those
Exciting
rare
moment.
ones where I don't have um, no pun intended, I don't have a horse in the fight and, or a horse in the race. And that's what it's like when Eugen Oma like bangs one off the post. It's just that, oh, no, like, how does that happen kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Just, oh, man, that's tough.
Yep. And then 2 minutes later, Atez Diouf was assisted by Jalen James. This one was a beautiful goal to
Hmm.
equalize. It was a beautiful ball from James, a great run from Diouf, and a great like clinical finish from him as well. Just an all-around good goal. And the other thing that I really liked about this one, which I don't know if a lot of people noticed this, he celebrated like for maybe a second or two, and then he went straight for the ball to pick it up and bring it back to the midline. This is the 21st minute, and he's already picking that ball up and bringing it back to the center circle.
Mhm.
Like that's how much he wants to win, and he wants to reward the home crowd with that win too. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, I think he was definitely feeling it, and just maybe previewing a little bit of the rest of the match. I mean, he was really feeling it.
Yeah,
So,
he was. Yeah.
um, I think he knew what he was going to be able to do the rest of the night, and wanted to get it going. Just and I respect that, man. Like that's not something you see from a whole lot of players, but I'm when you're feeling it, man, you're feeling it. You grab it, you go.
Hmm.
So, and I mean that's the kind of thing that Lexington needs, though. Like that, I feel like Lexington is one of those teams that because they're so hot and cold. When they're hot, I think they realize, all right, we're playing really well together right now. Let's see if we can't get a couple more in for that inevitable cooling down period that they have.
Hmm.
But just that's the most frustrating part about watching this Lexington team is it, and I mean we say it every single week, but I'm going to keep going on it until it changes. But those moments of brilliance, just like this exact goal, and then just a cooling off period that comes at some point after that. I still maintain that if Lexington can put an entire game together as staying hot like they can be, this is a team that will challenge for the playoffs if they can figure out how to play an entire game,
Yeah,
which is not
I
something I would
agree.
have thought I would have been saying at the beginning of this season. A couple weeks in, I figured they were dead in the water, but they have a shot to figure it out. They just have to get it figured out.
I think if I recall correctly, when we did our preseason stuff, I think I had Lexington at 12.
I
But
don't. I know we both had them low, and I know we
yeah,
disagreed on where they were at. But yeah, um, and I mean this Lexington team did this with against a Northern Colorado team that I firmly believe already has one foot in the door in the playoff,
oh yeah,
even this
I
early in the
agree.
season,
Yeah.
barring injuries or anything crazy going on. Um, so I mean that just shows that these are two teams that could very well be meeting in the playoffs by the end of the season.
The three teams that I feel perfectly comfortable saying are already in the playoffs, Northern Colorado, I'm sorry, North Carolina, Charlotte, and Northern Colorado. I feel like those
That's fair.
three already in the playoffs. Like, don't even have to worry about it. They're already in.
Mm-hmm. And I mean that from their play, yeah, it kind of seems that way. And I mean, we kind of got a. I think I nope. I think I jumped. Yeah, I did jump ahead a little bit. Yeah. So in the 28th minute, Lexington had another chance. Um, almost had a tap in on the back post, but out of reach from Nico Brown and buying him. So it just ball goes across the face of goal and just unable to get that just light tap on it. And that just is one of those things. It's that cooling off period that we were just talking about. It's 7 minutes later, and a beautiful run for the goal. 7 minutes later, you miss you almost get a tap in, like it, and it just doesn't go. And it's got to be so frustrating to be a Lexington fan in those cases.
And I may be mistaken, but I think the cross that was going toward Brown and Bainham was actually from Diouf.
I believe so,
Um,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's the one who fed that ball across
Hmm.
the mouth of the goal, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
I want to say that sounds right. I'm trying to think back. I don't remember for sure, so I don't want to say for sure, but I believe so.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an opportunity for Lexington to take the lead. Um, but it was actually Northern Colorado who was going to break the deadlock, and they did so in the 39th minute when Bruno Rendon had an unassisted goal. Um, it was just one of those plays where they had a corner kick and there was a loose ball in front of the net, and Rendon was there to finish it. I mean, that's what you do on a corner kick. You try to create havoc, and in this case, they did. And you just try to bulldoze and shove it, like force it into the goal, and that's exactly what they did.
Hmm.
Doesn't have to be pretty, but you get the goal and you take the lead.
Yeah. I mean, it we've talked about it before, and you don't clear the ball, and that's what happens, man. I mean, it just you cannot let balls sit in front of the net for any period of time because
Yeah.
this is the weird shit that happens every single time.
And if I remember correctly on this one as well, Knight was in a position where he could have gotten at the ball, but at the same time, everything was just happening so fast, and he ended up like scrambling around on the ground, so he didn't have a real solid chance at getting his hands on the ball.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, it got
so it
forced
just
back out wide and then
yeah,
brought back
yeah,
in. So I think he made a save initially, was
yeah,
already on the ground, and the ball just happened to be tapped back in to a spot where um, it could get sent in by Rendon.
yep, you're right. And the equalizer from Lexington came in the 81st minute when again Diouf came in. He was assisted by Charles Machel. Machel was wide open in the middle, and when I say wide open, I
Hmm.
mean this guy could have stood there and I don't know, he could have read a book. And I mean, he fed a beautiful ball to Diouf right there in the middle of the field for the quality finish. I mean, this was a nice goal.
Yeah,
Good play all
definitely.
around.
Yeah, it was just solid and one of those things that another one of those things where Lexington looking really good.
Yeah.
Just there's too much of a cooling off period and too much of a inconsistency still for me. Um, and I just don't know how they're gonna fix it.
Yeah. Like you said, if they can continue to string along those moments of brilliance, they're going to be a scary team.
Hmm. Definitely, and there was a little bit of controversy towards the end of this match.
Oh, that's right. There
Um,
was.
so late in stoppage time, actually, I'll even say post stoppage time, damn near. Um, Lexington has a free kick outside the box, probably what 25, 28 yards out.
Yeah.
Um, they send a good cross in, um, and Diouf gets on the end of it and puts it in the back of the net. Unfortunately for Lexington, it's called offside. Now, Rich and I both rewatched this right before we came on air,
Yep.
and he looked onside to me.
Yeah.
I
I
think
did.
we looked over it for a good 5 minutes or so, just going back and forth and looking at it. Just to me, I don't see how that gets called offsides. Um, I don't know what it looked like in the stadium, but I know it was bad enough that the Lexington supporters group is definitely wanting to petition for VAR. And in my opinion, they've got a solid case.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know how it gets missed that bad. It must be something that they can see on the field that we can't from the camera angles, which is just another thing in this league. The camera angles and only being limited to one camera and at most two cameras, but one up high and one down low. Just some of it just kind of kills this this part of the league for us. I mean,
Yeah. I agree.
and could it come back to be a big deal later? It might with how close
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's going to be this season.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's 2 points that are going to come in, that are going to be very valuable, down the line.
Hmm.
This is one of those cases where I I don't agree with the refs. I think he was onside. Because when if you try to go like frame by frame, and at the time the ball is kicked, I'm not convinced he was in an offside position. So for them to call him offside, the even if you're the AR and you see the ball is kicked and your eyes switch over to the line, even if you're watching the line as the ball is kicked, there's going to be some adjustment period to seeing the motion either of the ball coming into your eye line, or your eye line switching to the back line so you can see where the player positioning is at. In that amount of time, I can't imagine that he was that far offside for you to feel confident enough to raise your flag. I don't see it just in the camera angle that we have from the television broadcast. And
Hmm.
so I wouldn't have raised my flag if I were the AR.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
and I mean, I guess I can't speak on what these guys do personally for their free kick routine of calling offsides or not. But in my head, I'd be listening for the ball and watching the line.
That's a good one
So,
too. Yeah.
and I mean, these guys are so quick that I don't feel like you can be watching the ball get kicked and then look over, because you get guys like this running at full speed, because it looked like he had, a few steps to even get started, and these guys reach top speed quick,
Hmm.
that I don't see how you can't be looking down the line. And if he was offside, it had to have been something like he was leaning forward to get that speed going,
Yeah.
and maybe his head got over. And I mean, you could play the ball with your head, so maybe I don't see it though. I think they have a definite point to be a little bit upset with pro referees, and Lord knows I think every single team in this league at some point has hated pro referees.
Oh, every week. Yeah. Every week. And I feel like this is one of those situations where if there was AR, or I'm sorry, VAR, it was going to be one of those situations where the offside call is made because his wrist is over the line or something stupid like that,
Hmm.
where he doesn't have an advantage by having that body part across the line.
Right, you
It,
can't
it
play the
just
ball with it.
happened that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, stupid.
Hmm.
But there were some quality perform. I feel like I know two of your guesses.
Yeah, I mean, first one, it's got to go to, um, excuse me, it's got to go to Diouf.
Yeah,
I mean, 2 goals, should have been 3 goals,
should have
two
been.
goals, um, with one chance created, 3 passes into the final third, 6 recoveries, and earned 1 foul. So yeah, that one chance created must have been the cross coming in across the face of goal that they missed the tap in on.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, you score a brace, should have been a hat trick,
should
but
have.
obviously, yeah, you're gonna get the big recognition there. My second star player, um, really coming into his own in the past few matches, but Billy King only played 80 minutes, but he did have a great goal, 82% passing accuracy, one chance created, 2 passes into the final third, and had 3 recoveries. So a nice effort play, um, and 2 fouls earned. And the third one is where it gets really tricky, because there's a
Yeah.
lot. I think everybody on this list that I have in front of me deserves the shout out, but I feel like it's cheating to do it twice in a row of taking more than one for the third star. Um, Let's go. Oh, let's go with Arthur Rogers.
There you go.
90 minutes, one assist, two chances created, 5 of 6 on his tackles, 3 interceptions, 4 recoveries, and earned 2 fouls. And I think I'm only going with him over Bainham because he played 90 minutes instead of 80. He
Yeah.
played the full match. So 10 more minutes, and it would have been an even more tougher decision.
And so you mentioned that Diouf was your number one player.
Hmm.
So it was just announced today that he is um, well, Lexington is the first club to reach 3 Player of the Week honors this season,
Very nice.
and that those 3 Players of the Week is Diouf. So
Very nice.
congrats to him. Very well deserved.
Yeah, definitely well deserved. Really coming into his own here.
And the next match we'll discuss is Richmond hosting Chattanooga. Pretty much, man, there was not a single person in the poll who voted for a Chattanooga win. Um,
Yep.
so it was 14. Well, 70% of you thought it was going to be a Richmond Kickers win, and that's exactly what ended up happening. It was a 1-0 victory for the Kickers.
Scoreline may be a little bit surprising, but the result was not surprising.
I was also really happy to see their attendance number. This was cool.
Yeah, 5,276
They are killing it there at City Stadium. I'm loving it.
in Richmond. So Richmond just, you know, a little disappointed. You're about 100 fans off of your average for the season of 5,394, but I guess
Unacceptable.
I'll let it go because, you're
Yeah.
you're up 50% year over year
Oh
from
man.
last year to this year.
Man.
These just Richmond
Yeah.
showing up and showing out, man.
That
Congrats to
that
you
was
guys.
the next thing I was going to say too, because not only are they showing up in numbers, but they are creating an environment that is just so much fun to watch, even on the broadcast.
Hmm. Yeah, all credit to the Richmond Kickers fans for showing up.
Yeah, and this one was over very quickly in the match. I mean, in the 14th minute, Emiliano Terzaghi, who else, had his goal unassisted.
Hmm.
So score that goal, preserve the score line, and go home with 3 points. Give the home crowd a show. So good for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about this match. Just
Yeah, it was.
it was pretty Richmond heavy for the entire match.
Yeah,
Chattanooga didn't really get any hold on it until maybe the 88th, 89th minute, somewhere in there.
yeah,
And I think that was just more Richmond dropping back and saying, "You're not going to beat us. Just we're going to sit back and defend, and there's nothing you can do about it."
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad that we're not sitting here chatting more about this match, but at the same time, I mean, it was a very clinical execution from the kickers, and so
Hmm.
I mean, that's a compliment in and of itself. That we're just like, yeah, they did what they needed to. It was they,
Yeah,
yeah, it was exactly what they had to do. They did their job, and they went home.
yeah. They did what a good team does. They win the match they should have won. Um, and unfortunately, Chattanooga's season just not going well, man.
Yeah,
Um, it just and it's a shame, like that's happening, especially after the season they had last year. Um, but I mean, there's just what do you do? I mean, they're kind of stuck in the hole right now and just don't really know how to claw themselves out of it.
yeah,
And I mean, they're gonna have to do something, but I think it starts with them getting in and kind of just rethinking how they're playing matches.
Yeah, I agree. And just as a random aside, I am picking up on every single one of these tiny little microscopic like digs that are leading up. Like you're building that crescendo to your rant, and I'm loving it. I'm picking up on all
Hmm.
these nuances that you're throwing in there.
Oh yeah, trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is good.
I won't even start getting into it yet because I
No, no,
can already tell you what's gonna happen with that. Um, well, we can get into the stars of
sure.
this match. Obviously, the first star is going to go to the goal scorer, Terzaghi. Um, he played 86 minutes, had the goal, um, was 75% accurate with his passes. Both of his shots were on goal. Um, he had two passes into the final third, was only dispossessed once, and won 80% of his ground duels. So, um, doing doing Terzaghi things, and finally, I mean, where the hell has this been? Now it's finally starting to come into it, and obviously it's working, um, working for him. So my next one, let's see, this is was I don't want to go with Fitzgerald. Fitz is good, but he did not really have a whole lot to do in this match. So um, let's go with Nathan Ane. Played all 90 minutes, was 83% on his passing, um, had six passes into the final third as a center back. And this stat is actually kind of surprising. He was 63% on his long balls.
Hmm.
Accurate 63% on accurate long balls. Also had four clearances, four recoveries, um, and won 63% of his aerial duels. So Nathan Otting getting it done, like he has been really all season. And really want to get a player from Chattanooga because there is a standout player, and that's Rodriguez, center midfielder. Played 82 minutes, was 81% in his passing, three passes into the final third, and was 100% on winning tackles with four interceptions, four recoveries, and was only dribbled past once as well. So, um, and picked up and was fouled one time. So just so Chattanooga fans don't think I'm completely shitting on him all night, the midfield play from Rodriguez was top notch.
It's a good solid pick. I like it. And as we move to the next match, this is a pretty similar situation to the match we just discussed, with One Knox hosting North Carolina and North Carolina taking the 1-0 road victory.
Hmm.
I mean, it's this was a very heavily controlled match by North Carolina, and I mean it's exactly what we were just talking about with Richmond. They took advantage of the opportunity that was ahead of them. They did their job and they went home. And
Hmm.
it was a day at the office for them. It wasn't anything super stressful. They took care of business.
Yeah. Um, so this match took place down in Knoxville. 2,422 was the attendance for this one. Um, and One Knox that's eclipses their average of 1,886. So good on them for bringing in some more fans. But yeah, I mean, in stoppage time of the first half, um, Jordan Cervania scores, assisted by Olex Anderson. Two names you hear all the time for these guys doing what they do. Um, but yeah, not a whole lot, and it seems like North Carolina is pretty good at these grind them out wins. This isn't the first time that they've done it this season against a pretty good side in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Pulled up. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, not a whole hell of a lot to say about this one.
And I mean, that assist from Olex Anderson on the season, he has 4 goals and he has 4 assists. He leads the league in that combination of goals and assists.
Hmm.
Um, I guess Trevor, Ammon, he's right there with him with 8 as well. But the next closest is Lucas Coutinho out of Greenville with 6. So I mean, Oaks Anderson, whereas last season, he was a very impactful player. He's repeating that same role with this club, and it's fun to watch when he's not playing your team.
Right. It's always when they're not playing your team.
Yeah,
um, so yeah, if we want to go into the stars, obviously, again, this is another one of those match where the goal scorer is going to get your one of your stars. Jordan Cervania or Jaden, excuse me, Cervania played all 90 minutes. Um, had the goal on one shot too. So not a whole lot of shots look like were taken in this one. Had 33 touches, one pass in the final third. The only dark spot in this is he was dispossessed 3 times. But he's a 21-year-old player, so I mean it's going to happen a little bit. You would hope it would happen less, but also had 3 recoveries. So um, just making the effort to come back and get the ball after you're dispossessed, and won 2 of his tackles. So 2 out of 2 of his tackles, excuse me. Um, my next star is going to go to Mikey Maldonado. Maldonado, excuse me. 90 minutes played, 69% in his passing. Nice. 1 chance created, 10 passes into the final third for Mikey there. Also won both of his tackles, 2 out of 2 on that. 9 recoveries and was only dribbled past twice. And was able to draw 3 fouls. So doing it on both sides, attacking and defending there for him. And then for One Knox, I also want to include one of their players, and it's going to be Sean Lewis back in goal. Played 90 minutes, kept him in the match with 5 saves. Um, had 3 diving saves, 1 save inside the box, and 5 recoveries. So, I mean, if it wasn't for some of the heroics from Sean Lewis, this match could have gotten out of hand.
yeah. He's certainly one of the better goalkeepers in the league.
He is, and he's doing it rather quietly too.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to come out of my mouth. I mean, you have players like Austin Pack who are highlight reels every single week. You have Nuhu who's up for save of the week every single week. But then you have Lewis who flies under the radar week to week. And
Mm-hmm.
but this at the same time, I mean, he's collecting those stats and he's making himself, a worthy candidate for these postseason awards.
Definitely going to be a sneaky dark horse in these.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's largely going to depend on what One Knox ends up doing by the end of the season.
Yep.
Which One Knox has the potential to be there, right on the playoff line at the end of the season. And
Yeah.
again, it's like what we talked about last week. It's um, if they can keep their what's the word I'm looking for, conditioning up and being able to play a longer season with as many players from USL 2 that they do have.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a One Knox team that could surprise some people.
Yeah.
Right now, they're sitting at the end of week 12. They are sitting in fifth place. Um, and I think there was that. What was it? Just a week or two ago, they won both of their matches
Hmm.
that week, so they just skyrocketed up
Yep.
the table. So um, yeah, they've been mighty productive in the recent weeks.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch them the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely keep an eye on Lewis. Um, be looking for his name in some of those postseason awards. It'll be interesting.
Yep. And then for another match that happened Saturday night was Ford Madison hosting Central Valley Fuego. And this is where we're going to have some fun discussing this one. Um, to start off with, I mean, I was certainly one of those people in the poll who opted for the Ford Madison win. Um,
Yep, as was I.
so there were over half of the people who responded in the poll voted for Ford Madison win. Um, and full credit to Ford Madison fans for showing up at Bree Stevens Field. Uh, I think I saw there was the highest ever attendance in club history.
Yep, that is true. Yep, 4,924 people. Um, over 1,000 people more than their average. Their average is
Oh wow,
3,806, and that's on par with their average from last season as well. So yeah, just eclipsing both averages.
that's
That's
cool.
great job for Madison fans for showing out and showing like selling that place out damn near.
Yeah, and Christian Cheney awarded he gave a reward for the home field advantage in the 42nd minute. Took the early lead, and he was man. This was another one of those Cheney goals where you look and you're just like, yeah, that's. I mean, how is he not going to finish that? Um, it was a good opportunity for him, and yeah, he put it away. He took the early lead. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, assisted by Chichero. I mean,
yeah,
was he really though? I mean, that to me,
true.
that was all Christian Cheney, man.
Yeah, I agree.
The way that dude can contort his body to get around defenders and get a shot on goal is insane.
Yeah,
And I mean
yeah.
watching that at that point as a Central Valley Fuego fan, I mean, that just it hurts that you conceded a goal. It hurts even worse that it was Christian Cheney, and it hurts even worse that he did it in the way that he did it.
Yep.
Just insane, and what a great run by Cheney to get that goal. And of course, the patented backflip, which I'm sure he was just happy to do.
Oh yeah. So at halftime, Ford Madison was winning 1-0. Bree Stevens Field couldn't be happier. They have the lead. It's a sellout, or not a sellout crowd, but a huge crowd on hand.
Hmm.
Spirits were high. I was checking Twitter and I saw a bunch of, well, I saw several messages on a similar theme, but I saw one from Rob over at Talk and Flock, and he said something along the lines of just wondering what's going on with Union Omaha or something like that. And I was thinking, I'm not even going to respond. I'm already like not in the mood to deal with any of that stuff, so I'm just going to let that one run out.
Hmm.
And I was kind of thinking at the same time, like, you know what, his team's winning. Like, I'll just let him have this one. And then the second half started, and um, shit started going the other way for him.
Hmm.
So Central Valley ended up scoring two goals, one in the 74th minute and the other in the 84th minute. In the 74th minute, it was a Zahir Vasquez goal assisted by Omar Limas.
Hmm.
And the 84th minute was a PK. Alexis Cerritos earned the PK and he scored it.
There you go.
Um,
See, that's what we want.
yeah,
If you draw the penalty, you take the penalty.
exactly. And for all the people who are complaining that Timmy Mel did not make contact with Cerritos. He 100% made contact with Cerritos. He
Oh
hacked
yeah,
him. Like that was a perfectly awarded PK.
yeah.
No doubt about it. Um,
You don't need VAR for that one.
yeah. So as much as Ford Madison fans were having Schadenfreude at Union Omaha's expense, uh, the favor was returned by the end of the evening.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I did respond to that tweet from Rob, and I wasn't nice about it, and Rob was trying to be nice.
Yeah, he was.
He
He
didn't
was.
want to get too spicy,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean it. I mean, I in that position, you see Cheney make a run like that, I probably would have been talking some shit too, to be honest. But
Yeah. Figure
yeah,
out Rob is a nice guy. He's not gonna, come at you in
oh
a,
no,
malignant or, type of way. I'm sorry, these Moscow mules are starting to get on top of me. But yeah, Rob's a good guy. So
Mhm.
it was funny to see that tweet, and um, I knew he didn't have any malice behind it or anything like that. It was just sort of like putting a little salt on the wound, but
Oh yeah,
who knows?
definitely.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Would you rather get blown out by the team leading the league, or would you rather be upset by the last place team in the league by 1 goal? They're both painful
Hmm, that's a good question. Um,
because we're about to discuss the Union Omaha match, and we won't sugarcoat it. It was a blowout.
yeah, I think getting upset by the last place team because I mean at least there was some heart shown by Madison. It wasn't like Madison just rolled over and stopped playing halfway through the match.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean in this position I would much rather be Madison than Omaha. I think. But on a normal night, if you're competing the entire time, yeah, I'd rather lose to the top place team, get blown out. I mean,
there you go. Yeah, I agree.
this was a special circumstance, I suppose.
Yeah, circumstantial, but yeah, you answered it correctly. Yeah, I agree with you.
So we'll jump into the stars. The first one, tough one. Um, the first one for me is gonna go to Christian Cheney. Um, Fantastic individual effort from him to score that goal. And yeah, I know there was um, a credited assist on that, but to me that was a solo goal. So Christian Cheney gets the nod for the first one. The second one, Alexis Cerritos, I believe, is where we're gonna go. He played 87 minutes, had the the penalty, drew the penalty, and took the penalty. Was 86% on his passing. Um, Two passes into the final third, four recoveries, one interception, and was only dribbled past twice, and drew two fouls. So another great individual effort from him. And the third man I'm going to choose here. Oh, we're going to have to go with the goal scorer in Vasquez. 29 minutes, one goal, 71% on his passing, only had 12 touches, which is huge, and two recoveries. I mean, 29 minutes and a goal. What more can you really ask for, you know?
Those are good choices. All right, so let's go ahead and rewind all the way to the very top of our outline.
Yeah.
And let's get into the nitty gritty of the one that you and I have been avoiding all night. And that is Charlotte Independence hosting Union Omaha.
Hmm.
So I'll be 100% honest here. In the poll that we put on Twitter, I voted for a Charlotte Independence win.
Fair. Fair.
Obviously, my fandom wants a Union Omaha win,
Hmm.
but if I'm putting my fandom aside, yes, I thought Charlotte was going to win.
Hmm. I chose draw. I thought it was going to be like a 2-2 draw. Um, just a little bit more life shown from Union Omaha and Charlotte. Just maybe that defense of Charlotte kind of coming out and doing what I had said at the beginning of the season they were going to do and not play very well. And boy, was I wrong.
Yep. Um, oh, and so last week when we came down, well, I should probably say I came down pretty hard on Charlotte fans for only having like 100, 107 that showed up for last week's match.
107.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, y'all showed up this week
Hmm.
and you killed it with the attendance this week. So I know that we were angry with you last week.
We
It's not
no.
that we were mad at you.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just that we were disappointed.
Exactly.
It was just that harsh love that we were showing at you.
Yep. I agree. But they showed up, so
They
um,
did.
credit to them.
And this one was over in the first 10 minutes it was over. In the 7th minute, Charlotte took the lead. And this was a goal from Joel Johnson, assisted by Miguel Ibarra. Um, I mean, this is videotape that you want to show any developing soccer players because it shows how your defense was disciplined, compact, and as soon as the team gained possession of the ball, they all had that immediate reaction to go straight up the field and create an offensive opportunity up there. Not only that, but if you watch Miguel Ibarra, he started off with a straight run toward the goal line, but then he went at like a, if we're talking American football, like a post run and cut inside at it for a diagonal run across the back line. And that
Hmm.
threw everyone off in the Union Omaha back line. He
Hmm.
completely like decimated the organization of the back line. And at that point, there was no turning back. They were able to get the ball at Joel Johnson's feet, and he was able to score the goal. You cannot lose track of Miguel Ibarra in the final third. You cannot. He's a quality player. You just, oh man, there. At the same time, I know that Charlotte has so many quality players um, on their team. Look at their roster. There's big name after big name. But Miguel Ibarra is not one of those players that you can give too much respect to.
Hmm.
That's what I'll say for this goal.
Yeah, and I mean it's not only that you can't lose track of Ibarra on the field; it's you can't get beat by a player and stop defending.
Yeah,
It there's there's something to be said about getting beat and taking half a second to be like, shit, I lost he blew right past me. It's another thing to get beat and not turn around and start heading back on defense. And the off chance you can catch him, you can get behind him, you can maybe make him feel some footsteps or something. But I mean, credit to Charlotte on the goal. I mean, It doesn't get any more textbook than that. I mean, you you look at something like that, and like you said, Rich, that's something you're going to study later on. You're going to show kids like this is how you do it. This is how you play this,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's just a perfectly run play, um, and
And
perfect
for
attack.
everybody that's watching and listening at home, if you're watching, and I want you to, you know, make eye contact with me here. We're not talking about the 79th minute. We're not talking about the 84th minute. This goal happened in the 7th minute. And we're talking about the things that we are in the 7th minute. This is not a good start to this match. It's only going to get worse.
Hmm. Yeah. So in the 55th minute, Charlotte doubles the advantage. Dresser and Buyu, unassisted, dribbles past two Omaha defenders that get left twisted and turned around and not knowing where the hell the ball was, um, and beat New Hulo. Um, and this is his third consecutive match with a goal scored. I mean, this is what Tresser and Buyu does. I mean, you figure that dude is going to get a goal against you at most cases.
Yeah.
Most teams, he's going to score on you. It's limiting the damage from the rest of their um, very talented squad that is the problem. Um, but yeah, I mean, he did what he does, and I mean, he's just a great player. Was able to find the back of the net, and like he has done consistently, and sometimes you just get beat. Now, should you get have two defenders beat on the same play? Absolutely not. And it's something I'll talk about a little bit later too. But yeah, all credit on this one goes to Mbuyu, and
And
he's
Boo, 100%. He was at an incredibly tight angle, and yet he still found the goal.
he's a great player.
I'll also say this: I don't think there's no way Nuhu should have let that one get by him.
No,
If
a tight angle in the near post, no way.
Yeah, if Mbuyu is dribbling at the goal line and there are two defenders, they're cutting off some sort of an angle. So you're going to cover the near post.
Mhm.
And if he's going to take a shot from a very tight angle along the goal line toward the near post, even if he's going far post, your natural instinct is to take away the near post. And he gave away the near post
Yeah,
at a
it's
low angle.
it's the cardinal sin.
Mm. Ugh, it's just
It's
that
the
one should not have been a goal.
it's the cardinal sin of goalkeeping. You lose the ball in the near post.
Yeah,
Tim coming in, saying unless he doesn't trust his defenders to cut off that centering pass.
and he doesn't. Let's be honest, he doesn't.
Yep.
It
If
was,
anybody's watching, you can tell that I'm like really holding in
yeah,
and waiting for the rant as opposed to jumping in now because I don't want us like I also don't want to downplay just like how much Charlotte just dominated this match too. It just
yeah,
I feel like if I start going in on Union Omaha, it's like it's not being fair to Charlotte just absolutely decimating Omaha. They knew exactly how to play him, and I mean, obviously they're a very talented team that just took it to a less talented team.
yeah. All the compliments that we had for the other clubs leading up to this match are out the window. We have compliments that we can certainly, give to Charlotte, but as for Union Omaha, this is not a good one. This is not a fun one to be talking about. I
Mhm.
even texted Brian at halftime and I said, I don't even know if I want to watch the second half.
Mhm.
Um, because the first half, like, it was ugly enough. It was only going to get worse. And once the second half started, nothing seemed to be changing. And yeah, it was. I still watched the second half. I still put myself through it.
Hmm.
Didn't have fun.
Yeah, and Tim making another point saying the stats won't say they did. And honestly, Austin Pack made some great and demoralizing saves.
He did.
And I mean, he did, yeah.
Yeah.
And uh, at the beginning of the rant, I'll actually break down quite a bit of average percentages over the last four matches for four teams specifically. Um, that might shock you. So, but we'll get through the rest of this match. In the 90th minute, Corey Bennett, um, assisted by Luis Alvarez, um, nutmegged to 1v1, and then they took a deflection that went under New Who. He was going to score it anyway. And unless he shot it straight at New Who, there was not really going to be a whole lot he could do. There wasn't any defenders there that could cut off that backside, um, the far post. So he could have slotted it in there, could have slotted it near post. As long as he didn't kick it right to New Who, that ball was probably going to go in.
Yeah.
Just because of the angle and everything on it, just too many options.
Yep. And for Antonio to get nutmegged in a 1v1, oof, that hurts, man. Not only did he get nutmegged, but this probably goes right into your rant, so I won't say the next sentence. Yeah, we'll just keep moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tried to make the candidates as tough of a decision as possible, but I think I know exactly where you're going with this. But yeah, let's see what you're thinking here.
Um, yeah. So my first star is going to go to Tresser and Mbuyu. 80 minutes with the goal, three interceptions, six recoveries, and was only dispossessed once. And third consecutive match with a goal. Great job for him. Um, excuse me. Austin Pack, five saves, one diving save, three saves inside the box, which is huge. Three punches and five recoveries. And um, it's not it's not really anything like I want to say Joel Johnson, right? Because he's the left back that scored a goal. Um, but actually, I'm going to go with JP Skiers for my
Hmm,
third one.
okay.
Played all 90 minutes, 88% passing accuracy, only one chance created, but 10 passes into the final third. Was 80% on his accurate long balls, two interceptions, five clearances. Um, but then this is where it gets a kind of like, I mean, this happened to damn near everybody on this day, so I guess I can't really nitpick it too much. Dispossessed twice and dribbled past once. Um, but JP's been kind of thrown around, um, in my opinion, a little bit unfairly in the lineup. So when you're getting moved around as much as he is, and you still have a game where you're passing really well on a team that the statistics will tell you are passing well, but there's a little bit more into that. Um, I mean, that's just kind of how Omaha is, um, and he's one of the guys that shows an effort on every single play.
Hmm.
So that's kind of a big thing for Omaha right now.
I got to be honest. I thought you were going to go straight Charlotte on that one. So
I could
that's
have,
pretty good.
and I mean, trust me, I had my pick of Charlotte players. Close your eyes and throw a dart, and
Yeah,
whatever player is closest to, yeah, he probably deserves a shout out.
yeah.
So
So going through the club news, there wasn't any news out of Charlotte, but for Omaha, we do have some pretty cool news coming up. On this coming Thursday, there's going to be a women in sports leadership panel, which is going to include Amanda Vandervoort, who is the president of the USL Super League. And then there's also going to be some executives, corporate leadership, journalists, digital directors, all going to be at the leadership panel to discuss, women in sports, women in leadership, um, you know, growing their presence in that industry. And it's going to be some very, very cool discussions, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's They were going to have the woman who is organizing the U20 World Cup down in Argentina, which would have been a really cool interview. But the fact that she's, still organizing that whole tournament and everything, she's quite busy. So they had to, um, make some adjustments and sub her out and bring somebody else in. Uh, I I was really looking forward to trying to toss some questions her way, especially with her having to adjust to hosting the World Cup on such short notice, because the U20 World Cup was supposed to be held on the other side of the world, and for them to award Argentina with the U20 World Cup at the very last second, there are so many interesting storylines that would have been really cool to hear from her. But nonetheless, there's still going to be some great discussions on Thursday night, especially with Amanda Vanderhoor. She's such a cool person. You're not going to lose when you're in a conversation with her.
Hmm.
And then on Wednesday, June 14th, there's going to be an LGBTQIA plus centered team talk. So the club has had those team talks on a monthly basis, but this week, or I'm sorry, this month is going to be uh, centered toward the LGBTQIA plus community, and it's going to have people who are a part of that community, who are involved with soccer very intimately, both as a having a history as a player, and then continuing on giving back to the community while still identifying as a member of that community. So that's going to be very cool, and very appropriate for it being Pride Month and everything like that. So that's going to be a very interesting team talk that night too. And I plan on going to both of those. So it's going to be a fun evening on both occasions.
Definitely.
All right, let's get down. We do
Yeah.
have some league news. We didn't cover this last week, but USL Wilmington is not going to be starting in 2024 as they had originally announced. They are still planning out, still trying to find out their temporary playing venue. They're trying to find a good hosting space, and they're having a little bit, more difficulty than originally anticipated. So they're not going to be in League One in 2024. I haven't heard or seen anything, leading to a specific date or year, um, but we'll keep an eye on that situation.
Definitely.
As for Week 13, we have three clubs that play twice this week. We have Ford Madison, Northern Colorado, and Richmond. And then we have one club who has a bye this week, and that is Charlotte. So this is North Carolina's opportunity to separate themselves at the top of the table, since
Yeah.
they've been tied the past few weeks. So tomorrow night on Wednesday, Chattanooga is hosting Ford Madison. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then
see if Madison can avoid losing to the bottom of the table team twice in a row.
there you go. That's a good storyline. And then Northern Colorado is going to be hosting Richmond. That is going to be a fun one too.
That's a very underrated. That
Yeah.
that is probably the my favorite of this weekend.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that could be mine as well. On Saturday, Greenville's gonna be hosting Omaha for renewal of the rivalry for the belt. Um, Brian and I will not be there, so sorry to Geo, sorry to Brandon, sorry to Remy, all the Reedy River Riot members. Hopefully we can schedule that trip next season.
Mhm.
And then also on Saturday night is Tormenta hosting Lexington. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Madison hosting North Carolina. That'll be a good one too. Gosh, these are all, man. Uh, Northern Colorado hosting One Knox, and then Central Valley hosting Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good ones.
It's definitely some good matches this weekend.
Yeah. So Brian and I have discussed some ideas for more stuff to put on social media. You'll be seeing that here pretty soon. Um, we've also been sending out some interview requests, and we sent one out today and already heard back from that person. We
Mm-hmm.
won't say who it is or anything like that, but we already heard back from them. They are interested, and it sounds like they're pretty eager to be on the show too. So
Yeah, it does.
we're going to get them scheduled, uh, and that's going to be a good conversation. Um, Brian and I had a recent discussion about interviews and trying to get some scheduled and all that kind of stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
um, we have some good ideas going on, and
Definitely.
we've already sent out a few interview requests. Haven't heard back from them yet. We're still hoping to, but we're going to keep sending those requests out so we can continue bringing in people, highlighting, whatever the work they're doing, whatever storylines they may bring to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of good stuff coming. Um,
Yeah.
we
And
did reach
if there's anybody in particular you guys would like us to interview, just let us know as well. Um,
exactly.
Send something to us on Twitter on either the pod account or Rich's Twitter account or my Twitter account, and we'll see what we can do to get that going because we want to know what you guys want to hear too.
Yep. We did reach for the stars on a few of our interview requests. Uh, but you know, you got to shoot your shot.
Yep.
No big deal. All right, I'm going to get some lime juice because I'm about to break into a Modelo. So I will be right back and I
Hmm.
will let you.
Yes, yes, Tim. We reached out to Messi. Still haven't heard back yet, but um, we'll let you know as soon as that drops. We'll let you know. We know where he's going, by the way, but we
Yes, we
can't say
do.
anything. We signed an
Yeah.
NDA. So yeah, we should ask Neville. But yeah, he's not there anymore. So um, getting into it, yeah, we'll kind of get started with the rant. I probably could have recorded the rant on match night, um, and it would have been more ranty than it is now. Um, but Omaha's, I mean, if you're not a Union Omaha fan and you don't want to listen to this, because it is going to be all about Union Omaha. Um, Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Um, but Union Omaha has a serious, we'll call it either identity crisis or desire crisis going on, and I don't really understand what the issue is. I mean, I know you guys probably heard me dropping like backhanded comments or compliments going in on all the other matches, but effort should not be something a professional soccer player should ever. I should never have to question that a professional soccer player is showing any effort. Um, there was too many chances in Omaha playing Charlotte where guys would get fucking dispossessed and just stand there watching the ball go right by him. Nobody going back, not making runs backwards. How do you do that? How does that make any sense? Like, why are you even playing the fucking game if you're not going to sit there and try to go after the ball? Um, And I mean, this isn't something that I'm like just pulling out of my ass because um, I have percentages from the last 4 matches for 4 separate teams. And I looked at accurate crossing percentage, the number of passes in your own half, accurate passes in general, tackles won, ground duels won, and successful dribbles, right? So, in theory, with Omaha being on this slide, you would think a lot of these would be far below a team like Charlotte or NCFC, and it's not. I mean, at accurate crossing percentage, there's not a whole lot of teams in the league that cross the ball super accurately. Um, but Omaha crosses in the last 4 matches an average of 26% accuracy, whereas Charlotte crosses 31% accurately. That's a difference of 5%. I mean, it equates out to a couple a match, right? Which, yeah, you could say that might be an issue, but I mean, it's not a big enough discrepancy between these two teams. And another thing that, I mean, these statistics that I'm going to throw out, they seem like there's a difference, but then we turn around to somebody like Chattanooga, who's at the bottom of the standings. Chattanooga crosses accurately 32% of the time. They cross more accurately than Charlotte does. NCFC, another one of the top teams in this league, crosses 23% accurately. Omaha is more accurate than NCFC, yet are so far below them in the standings that it would seem like a complete mismatch. And so Omaha passes in the last 4 matches, 81% of their passes are accurate. 52% of those are in their own half. You turn around and look at Charlotte, who plays a similar style to Omaha, 54% of their passes are accurate. That's a difference of 2%. Yet Omaha is so far below them. Again, like I got to look off the top here. I probably should have brought this up earlier, but in the standings, I mean, Charlotte's sitting on 22 points, Omaha's sitting on 11. You're sitting 11 points behind a team that in every statistical category, I'll go right through them. Tackles won, Omaha 71%, Charlotte 64%. Ground duels won, Omaha 49%, Charlotte 52%. Successful dribbles, Omaha 59%, Charlotte 63%. And you turn around and let's look at the bottom of the table, Chattanooga, right? I'll go through it again. Accurate passes, Omaha's 81%, Chattanooga 77%. Tackles won, Omaha 71%, Chattanooga 60%. Omaha wins 49% of their ground duels, where Chattanooga wins 53% of their ground duels. And Omaha is 59% on their successful dribbles, whereas Chattanooga is 49%. Statistically, Omaha is better than Chattanooga in a lot of the effort categories, yet it just doesn't happen. Like they can't do it. And in this last match, you have guys stand around looking at the fucking ball as soon as they get dispossessed, and they need to figure it out because you should never be questioning effort on a professional team. I question effort on my kid's baseball team. My kid is 9. Like, I shouldn't be questioning effort of players that are 19 to whatever the oldest, 35 in this league. You're getting paid to play. You need to be actually playing the fucking game. Omaha, figure it the fuck out. Do what you have to do. If you have to completely drop this system and go back to playing the counter-attacking long ball, like, I just don't understand. I just don't get it. And it doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. I don't know, man. They need to figure something out because this is not not even a championship caliber team. This isn't even a team that's gonna make the playoffs if this continues. This is a team that's going to be challenging for the wooden spoon with Chattanooga and Central Valley. And they're getting outpaced by all of these other teams. And it's not a statistical thing. So what are the other intangibles that you can put down on this? If you statistically are just as good, maybe a little bit worse than the top teams in the league, how are you dropping so many points? To me, that says it's either a system problem, B, a player problem, or C, an effort problem. All three things can be controlled by the team. You need to figure it out. And this is, I mean, I'm still going to go and support the team and watch the team and do all that, but I mean, this is definitely a far sweep from what Union Omaha fans are used to seeing. And there's far too much of, oh, it's okay, guys, we're gonna figure it out eventually. No, that's how you get complacent. I've watched that happen with Sporting Kansas City. I've watched that happen with Nebraska football. I've watched that happen with Nebraska basketball and Nebraska baseball. I'm not going to sit and watch a team that we know what the issue is and it's just not getting fixed. I'm not going to sit here and just say, well, they'll get it figured out eventually. No, this team needs to get it figured out. And there needs to be some pressure put on these players that if they can't deliver that effort, then they don't need to be here. If you lose a ball, you should not be standing around watching the ball go by you. It's sickening, and it's not something I want to pay to watch. That's really all I've got to say about it. They got to figure it out, man.
So, okay, there we go.
Did you avoid the spillage on this one?
I did, yes. Thank you. I'm glad you're keeping an eye on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Looking out for you, man.
You raise a lot of really good points there. Some of the things that I want to point out in terms of team rankings,
Mm-hmm.
if you look through some of these things, average possession, Union Omaha leads. Shots on target per match, Union Omaha leads. I would not have guessed Union Omaha would lead in that category. I would have thought they'd have been one of the lowest because they're shooting a lot, but they don't seem to be converting a whole lot or even putting things on frame. That's just my own memory though. Accurate passes per match, Union Omaha leads. Accurate long balls per match, Union Omaha leads. Um, these are categories that are crucial to winning matches. I mean, you can't get up the field if you're not doing those very things that we just listed.
Mm-hmm.
But they aren't able to convert. I think they have the lowest conversion rate in League One. I can try to find that here really quick.
Well, I mean, it's Omaha. I don't think Omaha this season has the issue of getting the ball up the field and getting shots on target. I think it's the converting is just not there, which granted, when you look at some of the keepers that Omaha has had to play, they've played a lot of really good keepers so far this season already.
Yeah.
Um, the liability is the defense. And who would have thought that? Like that Omaha's defense being a liability. And to me, it's like I said in the rant, it's effort.
Mhm.
It's just that simple. When you saw, God, who was it? Let me go back up here real quick. Yeah, so the two Omaha defenders. I don't want to say one of them was Connor Doyle, got beat. on the Mbuyu goal. Um, and then I don't remember.
I think it was Luca.
It might have been Luca. But just two defenders. That's an effort play. And it wasn't even a good closeout on the ball. It was shepherding the ball and just letting him get by you.
Mhm.
And that's an effort thing. And Omaha doesn't have it, and they need to find it quick.
And here's the other thing. This hasn't been brought up. I don't think we've talked about this at all this season. You speak about the mentality of the club.
Hmm.
In seasons past, if there was an early goal that was conceded, fans that were in Warner Park or even watching at watch parties when it was a away game had faith that this was going to fight back, you know, scratch and claw for that equalizer. They
Hmm.
were going to push, to 90 minutes.
Hmm.
When that goal was scored in the 7th minute, I knew the game was over.
Yeah, they sure as hell didn't do it on that one.
Yeah. For some reason, as soon as that ball went in the net, I thought this one's over. I can turn off the game. I don't have to watch anymore. I know the result. And that was another reason why I texted you at halftime. Like, I don't even feel like I need to watch the second half.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Tim brings up a good point. Every match seems like you can point to a box scramble that we don't convert that others do. Those weak shots from outside the box are on target but have no shot at scoring. We hit it directly at the keeper a lot, and also saying that the team, lose faith when those shots don't go in.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, Tim. And I completely agree with your first point too. Like you're taking these shots. Yeah, they're on target, but if they don't have a shot at scoring, and then you hit the nail on the head, you lose faith when those shots don't go in. Then stop taking fucking shots outside the box. Work the ball in, which they can't do either.
yeah. The other thing that I noticed watching that match was um, there wasn't a whole lot of eagerness to push up the field. There were players that, whether they were
Hmm.
defenders that were advancing up the field, whether they were midfielders, they would get to the midline and they would just call it a day.
Hmm.
And they would just kick the ball up for Steven Dos Santos or Noe Meza and let them, sort of fend for themselves up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, those guys were able to generate some shots and they were able to generate an opportunity, for a team oriented opportunity here and there. But by and large, it was Noe and Steven against their entire defense.
Hmm.
And if you have four, at least four guys on the back line, six if you're counting central midfielders, those guys can swarm on those players. I mean, if you're looking at six players against two, that's 3v1 right away. There's very few players in the world who are going to succeed in a 3v1 situation.
Hmm.
Those players have to move up the field. They have to create passing channels. They have to create their opportunities. They cannot let the opposing team's personnel overload the scorers.
Hmm.
Um, I think when I wrote the article for the recap for this match, I posted a lot of the heat maps because I wanted to emphasize where the players' positioning was on average. You could see where the players were residing for large swaths of the minutes that they were playing. And most of the time, it was not high up the field.
And it
Um,
was within arm's length of each other, exactly like what you said in the article. They're right on
yeah,
top of each other.
yeah. So there's some shape concerns there. There's some um, effort issues. Yeah, there's some mental, fortitude that we're lacking at this moment, and it's not fun to watch.
Hmm. And I mean, we can give credit where credit's due, and Tim does here too, saying that Shaft was the only defender pushing up regularly. And I'm not saying that it's a effort issue for every player on the team. There are guys that I can point to: Noe Meza, Shaft Brewer Jr., JP Skiers. Yeah, there's some guys, I guess, that I can point to that don't seem to have the effort issue. They are playing, and the one that really sticks out, I think Shaft is by far the player on the team that is always 100% playing balls out every single time he's on the pitch. I don't know that I can say that about any other player on that field. Maybe Rashid, but because he has to.
Yeah.
And I think,
Oh, he has to, for sure.
and honestly, thinking about it now, I I really have to question, maybe not question how good of a keeper is, because he's obviously a good keeper, but I have to wonder if he's a little bit overhyped because of how good Omaha's defense has been the past few years. Because if balls aren't getting put up to him free form like they have been this year at him, he was just fine at saving him. But when he doesn't have any help in front of him, he's not Superman. He can't control the entire goal. And these guys, like, these are professional players. They're going to be able to pick out those spots more often than not. And I think we're seeing that this season.
So I think you bring up some really good points there. Like you said, Nuhu is not Superman, and we're starting to see some chinks in the armor there. He is a good goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that um, we're having these issues and we're mentioning Nuhu in these sentences, which we haven't ever done in seasons past, I think Nuhu is a victim of the mental suffering right now as well, because of the fact that he doesn't have the back line in front of him that he usually does. He doesn't have that safety. He doesn't have that security that he usually has to work with. He may be second guessing himself. He may be making decisions that he wouldn't be making otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
In seasons past, that goal that Mbuyu had on the near post would not have gone in, because he would have known that he had support shepherding him toward the goal line. So he didn't have to worry about anyone coming into the center of the field. He could cover that center post or the near post and not let that ball squeeze in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're starting to see him second guess the back line, and he's trying to accommodate for those pitfalls, and it's taking him off his game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I think he
definitely.
lives up to the hype. I think we're seeing him unravel just a little bit because of the players around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's not anything at his skill or anything like that. And I think it is exactly what you say, that, I mean, if you can't trust the guys that you're playing with, you're gonna have to play differently. And playing differently than the two-time Gold Glove winning goalkeeper is not a good thing.
Yeah,
You should be playing the exact same way in theory, right? But um, yeah, it's something that Omaha's really going to have to look at, and I can't sit and tell you that I have the answers, because I don't, and I don't have the X's and O's knowledge to figure out exactly what the issue is. But going from the eye test, you can tell that there are some guys on the team that put more effort than others on this team.
yeah, I agree.
Tim has a couple questions here for us, and then I think we're getting a little long in the tooth because we're at 2 hours now, and I think I've um, beat up Union Omaha a little bit. Um, so Tim would like to know, should Steven Dos Santos be starting, for his first question?
No, I do not think so. I think it should be Steinwasser and Meza, and then if Dos Santos comes in, I think it should be in the late stages, like 80th minute to the end of the match.
Mhm. Um, I don't think he should be starting. No, just because I don't think his particular brand is right for the team. I think they looked at his size more and said, "I want a big guy up front that can convert these crosses." Um, and that's not taking away anything from him because he's actually, especially for his size, even if he was like 3 or 4 inches shorter, his ball handling skill is there. He knows how to use his body and how to command the ball. Um, but he does have some glaring weaknesses, and speed is definitely one of them. And
Mhm.
his decision making is sometimes brilliant and sometimes so damn stupid.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just kind of you live and die by that. But no, I don't think he should be starting. But I also probably would sub him in a little bit earlier than Rich would, depending on how the other two forwards are playing.
Yeah.
Unless, and I definitely wouldn't be starting him as the lone striker because he's just not
No.
the kind of style we play, or we seem to want to play. Um, Fits more of a guy that can be cutting in behind, so like a Steinwasser or a Meza, who is smart enough to get behind defenders and quick enough to get behind defenders. So I guess I shouldn't say smart enough, but quick enough to get behind defenders.
Yeah.
And that is just not Dos Santos. Um, and Tim's second question is: should Connor's captaincy?
Yeah.
Would
You
that
got
be
it.
how you said? Be at risk? Just trying to
Yes.
figure out if that was a word or not.
Yeah, it's a word. Yeah, you got it. And to answer the question, yes, it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Few times in the Charlotte match. Go back and watch it, man. He gets beat. What does he do? He stops. He's one of the guys that was not showing very much effort. And
Yeah.
as a captain, not showing effort is completely unacceptable. And if I was a manager, if my captain shows anything of not giving 100% effort, that armband is pulled immediately.
Hmm.
It should go to a
And
guy. It honestly, it should go to a guy that's either been here as long as Connor and is showing 100% effort, or a guy who is blood, sweat, and tears for the team right now. And I
yeah,
have a couple players in mind that the armband could go to if Connor's going to continue to not play maximum effort, or at least not play to the level that he should be playing at as a captain. And if he can't perform to that level, and it's not a question of effort, it's just a level of performance. If he can't perform, then he doesn't need to be on the field. Unfortunately, because Connor is a great guy, and Connor is um, a legend for Union Omaha. But if you're not getting the job done, you're not getting the job done. And it's nothing
yeah,
personal. It's business. You need to win matches to bring people in, especially in Omaha, where I think we're seeing lower numbers. And I mean, you see our record. It's tough to grow in a market like Omaha if you don't win, because there's a lot of other places that are going to be drawing people, especially coming up here very soon. You have
yeah,
the CWS coming up, and then as soon as Husker football season gets started, if Omaha's not consistently winning and not consistently winning at a high level, um, getting people out is going to be a challenge.
yep. And another angle to the captaincy debate: when there's a call made on the field, I see other players get to the ref to have that discussion
Mm-hmm,
before Connor does. And if he's captain, he should be first in that huddle.
mm-hmm,
Um, I'd also like to see him more passionate and um, maybe not embellished, but emotive. I don't know. I just want to see more from him in those huddles. I want to see him um, having his teammates' backs, arguing those calls, and being the voice of his team. And there are times when I'm watching Union Omaha matches and I don't feel that it's 100% there.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that. I think it's gotten to the point where this team is unrecognizable from previous teams. Not only from a formation standpoint, obviously, and a tactics standpoint, but that that fire that the team had in their first specifically 2 seasons, it ain't there. They For some reason they don't have the players anymore that bring that intensity. They maybe have one or two or three maybe that bring that intensity, but everybody else just it's not there. And it's unfortunate, but you also need to be able to find those players. I'll take a player that shows maximum effort that isn't as good as a player that gives 80%
Mhm.
every single day of the week. And unfortunately for Omaha, Devin Boyce is one of those guys. Is he as talented as some of the players we have? No, he's not. But does his motor stop? No, it doesn't. And I would take that guy. Which guy would you rather fight with? A guy that's gonna give it his all until he's either physically not able to be on the field anymore, or the referee tells him he cannot be on the field anymore. I'm taking that guy over the guy that's going to give minimal effort every single day of the week.
Yeah. You know that what was it, Mike Tyson or something like that said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the nose or the mouth or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Devin Boyce is that guy where if you punch him in the mouth, like it's full on brawl time. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
coming at you. Like he's gonna scrap.
Yeah.
Um, there are other players who would cave under that kind of stuff. I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not one of the guys that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I got punched in the mouth, yeah, I'd probably cave because that would fucking hurt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
But um, look, Union Omaha has the talent. They have the players. They have the coaching staff. Something's missing.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, something's missing.
You got to figure it out.
And yeah, I'll share something with you here as soon as we end the episode that may shed some light into some of that stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But well, I think everybody but Union Omaha fans are gone. Um, so I did say when you were getting your Modelo, I did forewarn everybody that we were going to get Union Omaha heavy on the rant, so they didn't want to hear that. I already let them know. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. So, thank you for everybody that did stay through the entirety of this, because I know I rambled quite a little bit there, trying to collect my thoughts because it did. I started to get fired up in the middle of it, and it just again, best laid plans, started going out the window as soon as I started to get mad and new things came into my head that I remembered. So, um, yeah, appreciate you guys sticking with us.
yeah. Thank you very much. And like we said, we do have some cool stuff that's coming down the pipe. We have some graphics we're going to be putting up on social media. We have some interviews that are going to be planned here very soon. Um, so yeah, we're just going to keep throwing the good stuff at you and
Mm-hmm.
keep having fun with all of this as we go.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, hope you guys have a good one. And if you're listening on YouTube or any of the streaming platforms, if you guys want to throw us a like or a rating, that would definitely help out. But it's always awesome. Support is there. You guys are showing out and interacting with us online and everything like that. So we appreciate that too. Um, but yeah, so we'll see you guys on the next one, and I hope your team wins.